the key of having a Rav is having someone that you're willing to submit to, because you know that he's himself submitting to his Rav, and his Rav, and his Rav, and his Rav, and ultimately they're all submitting to Hashem. And they're saying, listen, whatever it says in the Torah, whether we like it, agree with it, it's irrelevant. We're going to follow it. If we all can just do that, then we can bring salvation to the world. Then we can eliminate the fake sects within our nation, whether it's the fake Chabadniks, the fake Messianics, and the fake everyone else. And to tell anyone that actually think that I'm against any organization, it's a complete lie. Because some of the great stories that I say are about Chabadniks, are about people from Breslov, and so on. The key that you have to understand is the founders of that organization are some of the greatest people that ever lived. There's a book called To Remain a Jew that was written by Rabbi Zilber. And Zecher Tzadik Livracha. Extraordinary book. One of my students actually got it for me as a present, and it's mamash. Every page makes you do tshuva. It's his life story. It's something out of this world. And he tells his story of different things that he went through his whole life and different people that he met. And many of the people that he met were Chabadniks. They practically built Judaism in Russia. Without Chabad, there wouldn't be no Judaism. But they were as zealous as can be for Judaism, to such an extent where he says one story, you weren't allowed to practice Judaism. They would go to jail and sometimes get the death penalty for keeping Shabbat. Keeping Shabbat. To keep Shabbat, one Rabbi Rabinovich, I think it was, or Abranovich, I forget the name, I'm sorry. He went to jail. And in jail, and this is not jail like the Taj Mahal we have in America. Jail in Russia was Gehenom on earth. Slave labor, cold at all times, barely any food, nightmare. 24 hours a day. Most people would not even make it out. So in jail he still found a way to keep all of the mitzvot, one of which was to wear a tzitzit that nobody wants to wear anymore today. Wear a tzitzit. So he got the strings, put them on his clothes, made himself a tzitzit in jail. So one day the head of the jail calls him in, and he comes in with his tzitzit. You're not allowed to be religious. You're not allowed to be Jewish. That's why you came into jail for the first place. And he says to him, how dare you wear that thing? Take it off right now. And the rabbi says, what? Take that off right now. He says, want me to take this off? He goes, take it off. He goes, you want me to take off my tzitzit? He screams at the bottom of his lungs, goes, you want me to take off my tzitzit? Pah! And punched the guy in the face and started beating him up until they stopped him and almost killed him. For him to take off his tzitzit was worth putting his life on the line. Find me one Chabadnik like that, that's telling people it's okay to drive on Shabbat. There are, of course, many holy ones that are still around. But they're not Messianics. They're not the ones that I mentioned in the groups before. The ones that are reading the real work of Chabad. The ones that are really reading the work of Rabbi Nachman. Or any of the major sages of past. They're not doing anything stupid by telling people, listen, drive on Shabbat for the first year, and the next year we'll talk about it. You're never allowed to sin. The fact that you sin is your problem, but you're never allowed to. Yes, everybody has gradual levels of how they do tshuva. But don't ever think it's okay. It's okay for now that, you're sinning. It's okay for you. It's not okay for Shamayim. B'ezrat Hashem, eventually you'll realize you'll have to do tshuva for that too. Because we can't just change our life overnight. I get it. I did it also. It's not overnight. But don't think it's okay to drive on Shabbat. Don't think it's okay to eat pork once in a while. It's never okay. Just that you can't handle that Yetzer Hara. You can't handle conquering all of them at once. But if you actually learn of the people that built this organization, and you see how zealous they were for Hashem, every single mitzvah they did, they were willing to sacrifice their life for. Every single mitzvah. Rabbi Zilber says in the book that for him, he was willing to sacrifice his life just to find a way in jail. He was also in jail. Unfortunately, all of these big tzaddikim went to jail, got tortured in different ways. He sacrificed his life to find a way to get a nail for Hanukkah, a candle for Hanukkah. To get a candle, to get the wax for a candle for Hanukkah. That's a mitzvah of derabanan. It's a rabbinical mitzvah. It's not even deoraita. Sacrificed his life just to get the candle. Find guys, go. Find them around. They don't make them like that anymore. And our only chance of getting back to that, only chance to become zealous for Hashem like that, our only chance to love Hashem like that, our only chance to fear Hashem like that, is starting with, number one, face reality. Number two, get yourself a Rav. Number three, buy yourself a friend that's going to tell you the truth whenever your Rav is not around. And three, give everyone kaf zchut if they're righteous, and make sure not to give them kaf zchut if they're not righteous, because you're not allowed to.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.